What is up, Hardcore Nation? It's Hardcore Christopher here, and being that I'm Christian, I started to think, I started to think about wrestling and religious gimmicks, and they don't have a good track record. But I have looked at a top 10 list, and I'm just gonna go right off the top of my head and say what I think about religious gimmicks in wrestling. Where to start? Well, remember back when Bubba and Devon got split up for the first time during the first draft? Bubba became the hardcore champion, had a good singles push, and what did Devon get? Seriously. Devon became Reverend Devon, and that went absolutely nowhere. Now, Reverend Devon would always bring the word of Vince? He'd always bring some sermon. Now, there is one good thing out of Reverend Devon. Now, there is one thing about Reverend Devon, and that is we got the debut of Batista as a deacon. Okay, on to the next one. And by the way, this is going to be a top 5 list, so that was number 5. I forgot to mention that. Number 4, Malachi. No, not Malachi. I think it was Mordecai. Remember Kevin Thorne? You know, the vampire of the 2006 ECW? Well, thank God for that gimmick, because his other gimmick, Mordecai, did not work. Basically, there were some religious vignettes where he would say that he was coming to like cleanse the WWE. I forget how the vignettes go, but if I remember right, he debuted on SmackDown. Then he went away for a while. Then he had a match on pay-per-view. Then he had a then he was gone. He was gone from the company like that, which is weird. Real weird. But okay, number 3.
But did y'all tell Granny
What?
what happened to my bed?
Yeah, we did.
What'd she say?
She said it'd be fine. Number 3 is, number 3 is New Day. Number 3 is New Day, and even though New Day's over now, I'm talking about earlier on when they debuted. Silent Reaction, nowhere. Just they didn't get no reaction until they turned heel. So I'm not I'm not putting New Day as a whole. I'm just putting New Day the babyface version because it it got over like a fart in church. Number 2. I can't believe I'm putting this person on this list. The the uh, the Undertaker. Before you start throwing stones at me, allow me to explain why. I'm not talking about the Ministry of Darkness. I'm talking about the corporate ministry. The Ministry of Darkness was feuding with the corporation. Then the corporation and the Ministry of Darkness merge into the corporate ministry that was supposed to be Undertaker's, but was Shane's. Then we had the dreaded higher power storyline, which went absolutely, positively. The build was good. The payoff was super weak. Vince McMahon, really? Number 1. Number 1. A, a bad, tasteless match. I'm putting God on this list. Now. How can I put the King of Kings and Lord of Lords on this list? Well, that's because it was just... That's because it was just awful. I mean, come on. Shawn Michaels and God taking on Vince and Shane. I mean, we all knew that God wasn't going to show up, first off. I mean, I would have been fine with like them dressing up some a wrestler in the locker room, dressing him up as God. and having him wrestle, but they didn't do that. God is on screen for like maybe 5 minutes. And literally, God is represented by a spotlight. And Vince McMahon tells God to get jiggy with it. Jiggy with it. And not only that, but the spotlight just goes out of the ring and back to wherever it came. And not only that, but Shawn Michaels ended up losing, and the entire storyline was bad. I will admit, Hurricane Rana Funk, it was a bad moment in WWE. So, to recap, 5 is Reverend Devon. Number 4 is Mordecai. Number 3 oh shoot. Oh man. I will, Hurricane Rana Funk. You have a nice day too. Number 3 is wait. Oh, number 3 is New Day. Babyface New Day. Number 2 is Okay, I'm gonna replace number 2. I just can't have Undertaker on this list. I'm sorry. I'm replacing it with ECW's crucifixion of the Sandman. Okay, so to update. Number 5, Reverend Devon. Number 4, Mordecai. Number 3, is Babyface New Day. Number 2 is the crucifixion of the Sandman. Number 1 is God. I'm Hardcore Wrestling for Fans. What do you think of my list? Be waiting to hear from you. And Hurricane Rana Funk, if you want to chime in as well, go ahead. I'm Hardcore Christopher. Keep it hardcore, everyone.